Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer Long from Sew a Story. I'm an early childhood educator turned Riley Blake fabric designer. And this month inside the Sew a Story Pattern Club, we are featuring the Little Witch quilt pattern. Now this quilt pattern is a pattern that I designed for a fabric collection called Little Witch. So she is the star, she is the feature of this fabric collection. You can sew it in this fabric or any other fabric. The pattern is available at so many wonderful quilt shops in paper pattern, or you can also download the PDF on my website. But if you want this pattern for just a little extra deal, and you want to also get this month's craft pattern, which is the Bat Candy Apple. Oh my goodness, look. You can come on over to the Sew a Story Pattern Club, and these are the two patterns that are featured this month in September. So come on in. I'm going to teach you a little bit more about the Little Witch quilt pattern. All right, so let's fly this bat on over to the side. And let's get started. So a few things that you're going to need is either come on over to the Sew a Story Pattern Club, download your pattern from there, grab just the pattern by itself, or head to your favorite shop and grab the paper pattern. You can get all your requirements, which you can find on the back. It's a lot of fat eights and then a few additional yardages. Lots of fun ways to sort of mix and match colors. Like I said, I'm using my fabric collection for Riley Blake Designs, which is called Little Witch. So Little Witch herself, and it has all kinds of wonderful jewel tones and colors. We're actually going to be using the spider dot fabric for the background, which I love this skew. It's just, it looks like little dots from far away, but when you get close up, you can see that those are spiders and all kinds of different spiders, like little families of spiders. So kind of think Charlotte's Web-esque, right? So I'm going to use that for the background. And then instead of the black lace for her hat, I'm going to give her a little bit more pizzazz, the second one that I'm doing. So I'm going to use this harvest one. So it's very, very harvesty. It's got like fall gourds and pumpkins, but it also has just a little nod to some Halloween-y, like a couple little bats in the garden. Bats are good for eating mosquitoes. So I have those two pieces cut just for this tutorial because we're going to learn my easy, perfect method for half rectangle triangles that's traditionally pieced. No templates for sewing or paper piecing. We're just going to use a ruler and our fabric. I am going to create something with you that's foolproof if you want to make sure that you always have that point on your seam. So you can have a piece of paper. I just took some Sheen embroidery tearaway stabilizer. So I just have a piece of that I'm going to use to draw the shape that I want on there, to the measurements, and I'll explain about that. And of course, the your pattern. So let's get started. Okay, hello friends, here we go. So I have the Little Witch fabric. I am going to make this section right here, a half rectangle to the right and one to the left. And I need two A rectangles and two G rectangles. So if I go to the pattern here, there's all the cutting if you want to cut it at once. But if you go to each section, I also love to put the cutting for each section here. So if you need the background A, so there you go is A. It's nice and handy here, 2 10 by 15s. So you can just kind of find it that way, whatever way you like to cut, piece by piece, or the whole thing at once. I also do want to point out that this one at a time half rectangle triangle method is the one I'm using, and I share it with you here in the front of the pattern. So, okay, let's begin. So I already have my two rectangles. These are oversized, which is why I wanted to do this tutorial with you. So I'm using this for the hat and this for the background, like I said. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove everything else. So I have a nice flat surface, but I do have this stabilizer, and I'm going to just put it off to the side, and I'm going to show you why in a second. And I have this very large 18.5 trim-it ruler. I won't need that big, but I'm going to show you what I'm going to use that for in a second. So I'm going to lay out the background fabric. Actually, I'm going to do this fabric first because you'll be able to see on the background fabric better. All right, I'm gonna lay out these two pieces here side by side, and then I am going to lay this right sides together down on top. Okay, so it's okay that it's not matching perfectly. I didn't do a fabulous job. Maybe I should just trim it here right now, but it's okay. I'll just manage here. So these are my two pieces, and they're very much oversized, so that's great. Now what I'm going to do is I want my hat to have two lines that come down like this. It doesn't really matter because we're making one in each. So you're going to draw one line from the corner to corner on one side, and then the opposite corner on the other side. I'm going to grab my long ruler, and I am going to do that. And you know, I'm actually going to trim my fabric so that they're exactly. There we go. Oh, it didn't show up. I was hoping it would. I'm going to press really hard because I want you to be able to see this. It's like magic. Oh dear. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Good. And draw all the way up, just like that. And then again this way. I'm going to do this and this. Oh, again, the pen. Maybe I should invest in some good pens next. That will be my next thing. Okay, and there we go. All right, now I'm just going to trim up my squares so that they are exactly, because I will want that rectangle to match. That was my bad. I apologize. Will you forgive me? Yes, we can spend a little bit more time together, so that's always fun. And we're just doing the best that we can, right? It's been a very busy day here, and I wanted to make sure I got this tutorial. I'm trying to do one tutorial a month for the Sew a Story Pattern Club, but to be honest, this pattern is, it just has my heart, so I couldn't not do one here for this. So it's been a busy day already. Okay, so here we are, our two large oversized half rectangle triangles. Now this is the trick, and don't let it sort of twist your brain up a little bit. So let me just show you the whole thing. I'll move it up. I'm going to take these corners that I've drawn to, so the corner that I've drawn here and here, and I'm just going to take the top layer and I'm going to rotate it so that it meets the other piece. I'm going to pin it in place. Now it is a large rectangle, so it's kind of a lot to have to manage. So that's nice if you have a big open space. Good. And because it's so big, I think I'm going to do a couple more pins, maybe 2 or 3 more in here, because I don't want to have it to shift at all on me. Perfect. And one more. You're going to end up actually sewing along this line, but let's do the other one first. You're going to sew directly on this line because this is the one at a time method. Let me just move that one over, and we're going to do the same thing here, and it's going to look opposite to you, or to this one, I mean, and rotate it over. So there we go. And they're meeting corner to corner, and then again, we're going to pin it. So I have right sides together. I have opposite angles on both rectangles because I want to make one of each. And then I am pinning them here. So I'm going to take it to my sewing machine, and I am going to sew right along this line on both sides. Okay, I'll do that and I'll be right back. Okay, here we are. We're back. I sewed along each one of these lines, and when you open it up, look, it's a rectangle. And a rectangle, we are going to have to trim it to size just like you would on an HST, or if you flip this one this way, then you have them on this side. So it depends if you have directional fabric here. Just check them both before you do it, and then it doesn't really matter which side you trim, because if you look, this has the rectangle on the right hand bottom going up, and if I flip it around, it has the rectangle on the right hand side at the bottom and going up. So they're the exact same, they're mirror images. So we're gonna just take our large ruler again, sorry for my reach, and I'm gonna do 1/4 inch over and I'm going to trim away this excess. Now, if you don't want to throw this away, and why would you? It's such pretty fabric. You can make something fun with this. I think I'm going to use some of these in a little felt doll, but I have lots of great craft patterns. Or the other pattern of the Pattern Club month is this wonderful bat candy apple. So maybe you could make one of the wedges and do a scrappy bat apple with it. How fun would that be? Okay, so I'm going to throw those away, or just to the side, and open this up. I'm going to move it over so I don't accidentally trim it. And I'm going to do the same thing on this one. So a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and send it over. Good, like that. And there we go. Now, it's up to you if you want to press your seams open or to the dark side, however you want. I'm going to press to the dark side on this one, just because I would like to, but I'm going to show you, look already. And I'll be right back, and we're going to just talk about what to do after we press, which is not sew it together yet. We're not sewing it together. We're going to have to trim these first. So let's press, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back, and I pressed to the dark side, and here it says to trim to 6.5 by 11. So you could take a ruler and do from corner to corner and do your 6.5 by 11. This is where I might want to use my big ruler, just because I needed that large of a size. However, what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you a technique that is I don't know, I just love it, and it gets your seam allowances perfect. So let me move these out of the way, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with this piece. I'm going to take it, and I'm going to draw 6.5 by 11 inch rectangle on it. So here is my 11. That's my 6, and I need to go over 1/2 inch. So luckily I can see through this nicely. I just should have lined it up just a bit better. There we go. I'm going to bump it over 1/2 inch. Good, by 11. And it's lining up on that line. And here I go. And I'm going to write here 6.5 by 11, just so that I know. Okay. Now, because this is like machine embroidery stabilizer, I'm going to use my rotary cutter. Otherwise, if it was paper, I have a paper rotary cutter, but because this one is, it's a cutaway, I am going to just use this. It's the same as fabric. So there we go. Good. And all the way around. Okay, now the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to draw your 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I'm going to take this, and I'm actually going to zoom in here so that you can really see. How is that? Perfect. Okay, so let's get that even straighter, that corner. So it's going to be nice and straight. Good. And then I'm going to mark, I can see through here what my 1/4 inch seam allowance is. So this is the 1/4 inch, and it's gonna look just like that. Perfect. I'm gonna do that on all the sides, on all 4 sides, all the way around. And then I'm just gonna show you how I'm going to trim each rectangle. Okay, so here I go. I have both of my oversized half rectangle triangles there, and I have my finished size. So if I went corner to corner, which is how you could definitely do it, you can see that my 1/4 inch seam allowance, I'm just going to pull it up a little closer, is just like 2 needle points over. So if that bothers you, then this is the next technique that you're going to want to use. So I'm going to take a pin and put it right through where I made my 1/4 inch seam, and I'm going to put it through my seam allowance there too. And I'm just going to tack it in so it's stuck there, and I'm going to do the same thing on the opposite corner. In through there, right through that seam allowance and over. All right, and now when I trim, and I'm gonna make sure those are down far enough, so when I trim, just gonna get that one, I had the fabric bunched a bit, sorry. Okay, and push, good. So there we go. Oh dear, I keep losing this over here. Good. Well, you know it's recorded real in real time. There you go. At least you know I'm a real person. And we're going to put that over just like that. And you're going to follow the seam line. And I'm going to trim that away. If you're having a hard time over your pins, you can go on the other side too. I do this so much, so I don't push that hard with my ruler. I just hold it in place. But if you're a hard ruler pusher, then you're going to want to go off the head of the pin or the needle, unless you have a flat head. All right, and then it looks like this. And you'll repeat the same thing, but in the other direction. So I'm just going to show you what this looks like though now. Look how this is not exactly in the corner, and that is actually what you want, because when you do your 1/4 inch seam allowance here and here, it's going to be perfect inside of there. So this is actually what you want your half rectangle triangle to look like. Let's do the same thing on this side so we can match it. Then you'll sew it together and you'll see exactly what I mean. I'll be back after I do this one. All right, and then that one's been trimmed now too. So I'm going to take the pins out. And again, I'll show you a close-up of the corners look like that. Now, when we're going to put this together, we're going to put it right sides together. And I like this mat because I can see exactly where my 1/4 inch seam allowance is. I'm going to actually use 2 pins for this point that's going to match. And again, I'm going to zoom you in so that you can really see what I'm doing. So I am going to take this at the 1/4 inch seam allowance. I can see where that's going to be on this mat. And I'm going to put 1 pin right through a stitch, like right through on the seam. And I'm going to match it. There's my 1/4 inch seam allowance and my 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm going to put the other pin right in there, and I'm going to keep it standing tall. Have you ever noticed that sometimes when you are sewing and then you go to put your pin like this and push it over, then when you sew this, you're like, how come it seems like it's just sort of 1 stitch off my point? And that's because you're pulling that top fabric over slightly. So if you keep it perpendicular, or like to it straight up and down like this, then I'm going to take my 2nd pin. I only do this is like my perfect point method, and I kind of hug it on either side so it looks like this. I actually keep that pin standing. If I'm doing lots of points, like a lot of HSTs, then I'll just have it a lot, and they'll just kind of layer over each other. All right, let's back out again. Good. And then I'll just pin along the side, just down here, and we'll take it to the machine and sew it, and I'll be right back so I can show you what the finished witch's hat 2 half rectangle triangles looks like. Okay, let's open it up and reveal. Let's see what happens. Okay, so here you go. Look at this. Oh my goodness. Yay, how fun is that? Now, I told you before, I push these seams down towards the dark side, but I actually press the middle seam open, and I do that because I also find sometimes when you press it over to one side or the other, then it will, it will just kind of pull it over by that 1 stitch like that. So I like to press that open, but look at that gorgeous point coming right together at the tip. You did it. There is the tip of her hat for Little Witch, and I hope you had a lot of fun here today. So that is the witch's hat demystified. I hope you had so much fun learning about how to sew a half rectangle triangle together, possibly in a different way. I hope you had just a lot of fun sharing this time with me here. And don't forget to grab your pattern. I can't wait to see your little witch. change her skin color. I do have something on the website I did want to mention to you, that it is a skew changer, I guess. So all of the different solid skews that I could find out there, I do have a link, and so it's inside this pattern. You can change the hair color, you can change the skin color, and I give you a free download on the Sew a Story website that gives you all of the skin colors, because you know I'm a doll maker, so I do love to have that whole rainbow in there. So yes, sewastory.com/fabric-diversity, and you'll be able to download that too. So thank you so much, and I can't wait to see your witch. Please tag me, and if you pop on over to the Sew a Story Pattern Club, make sure you share and say hi, and I can't wait to see what you create. Okay, see you soon. Bye for now.